Hello from Haneda International Airport in Tokyo. I am currently at Terminal 3 where I am about to catch my flight back to the Philippines. It is now around 9 in the evening and I am about to have dinner at my most favorite tonkatsu restaurant here at Haneda Terminal 3. It is called Katsusen Tonkatsu and it's located at the 4th floor. In the number of times I have flown out of Haneda, I always end up eating dinner here. Although it's a little bit pricey, but the food here is impeccable and the Filipino servers are absolutely great and very heartwarming. So this is my usual order. I have some tonkatsu, shredded cabbage, rice, and soup. And by the way, the shredded cabbage and rice has unlimited refill. It's so great. And I paired all of this with some green tea. So let's eat. Itadakimasu. So I have just spent 8 days traveling around here in Japan. Most specifically, I was at the western portion wherein I visited Osaka, Kyoto, and Hiroshima. And I spent the last 48 hours here in Tokyo just to connect to my flight back home because I'm flying out on a rewards ticket today. So if you're interested to see my vlogs and shorts on my latest adventures here in Japan, I'm going to put links down on the description box. To burn off my dinner, I walked to the 5th floor, and from here I could actually see the check-in counters in the departure area, and it actually kind of looked light. I am actually on my way to the viewing deck and I'm passing through a recreation of Nihonbashi Bridge and how Tokyo used to look like back in the day. And it actually looks so pretty. I love passing through here every time I'm on the 5th floor. Now, I was actually quite surprised that as soon as I turned the corner, I saw a lot of these miniature aircrafts lining the wall. And as I got closer, I was actually so surprised to realize that these are actually different aircrafts from different airlines that fly in and out of Haneda. And it actually caught my attention and I stayed there longer than I intended it to be. But anyway, I arrived at the viewing deck just as this Emirates aircraft Boeing 777 landed, and it was such a sight to behold. I always spend at least an hour plane spotting every time I am here. And as a trivia, do take note that Haneda International Airport is also known as Tokyo International Airport, so there's no need for confusion the next time you are here. So at this point, it's getting a little bit too cold for my liking, and I decided to head inside the terminal because it's just about time for me to check in for my flight to Manila. So checking in for my flight was surprisingly fast, and it was only after doing so I realized that I could have done a self check-in because I saw this computer here, and maybe I'm going to do that the next time I fly out with Japan Airlines or with any of the airlines that is listed on the screen right now. And basing off of what I see on the computer, I think the process of checking in by yourself is actually quite easy. So I'm looking forward to trying this out next time. And now it's time to head to the final security screening. Okay, so I can't believe that I went through final security screening that fast. I was not expecting it, but I'm so glad that I made it through. And I was also quite surprised to see that there are still a lot of shops open at this time because it's around 10:57 in the evening. Because the last time I was here, when I was flying out also at the same time, a lot of the shops were already closed and it all looked very dim and deserted, and it didn't look bright and happy as it is now. That happiness was cut short because the Chanel boutique was actually closed when I got there. I have been wanting to get some colors of their Jouer Contrast Intense Cream to Powder Blush because I couldn't get them back in the Philippines, but alas, I think I would need to buy them elsewhere. My boarding gate 113, was conveniently located after the Chanel boutique. And now that I know where it is, I decided to explore the area further just so that I know what to expect the next time I am here. So I can see a number of duty-free shops open, and most surprisingly, I saw a row of restaurants in the area, which was not here the last time I flew out of Haneda. And I'm kind of like kicking myself in the butt, and I feel a little bit frustrated because I wished I knew these restaurants were here and they were open, because I could have checked in earlier and I could have gone through the final security screening earlier and I could have had dinner inside here and I wouldn't have missed the Chanel boutique. So I'm a little bit like, pissed right now, but at least now we guys know what to expect when we're flying out of Haneda. Their operations is now almost back to normal, just like during the pre-pandemic days. Oh, and by the way, the toilets and the drinking fountains is located near gate 113. So if you're someone who needs to fill in your water bottle, you can do it here. And by the way, there is a vending machine in the area. So if you have some spare change, this is the best way to spend it. I had 150 yen in coins left, and I am so glad that this is enough for me to purchase one of my most favorite drinks in Japan, and it's actually this lactic drink from Calpis, and this will keep the memory of this trip last longer while I am on air. It is now after midnight and my aircraft to Manila has arrived at the gate. I am going to be on a Boeing 787 Dreamliner with flight number JL77. We are scheduled to depart at 1:55 in the morning. I have a little over an hour before boarding, so I'm going to set an alarm for the boarding time and snooze on the bench. My alarm set off at 1:35 in the morning, and once I stood up, I noticed that everybody was actually lined up for boarding. Talk about good timing. And by the time that I got in line, my boarding group number was called, group number 5, and it was time for us to board the aircraft. Despite the grogginess that I am feeling from suddenly waking up, I'm actually very excited for this flight, as it has been a while since I have flown on a Boeing 787, and it's my first time flying internationally on Japan Airlines. As I entered, I was surprised to see that the color of the seats were red because my previous domestic flight with them had black seats, so I was expecting the same color tone. Speaking of seats, as per seatguru.com, my aircraft has 42 business class seats with 6 abreast at a 222 configuration. It has 144 economy class with 8 abreast at a 242 configuration, except for rows 22 and 45, which has 4 abreast seating. My seat is located over the wing, 25A, a window seat. I am so glad that I had a neck support on the seat, which I'm sure will come in handy when I fall asleep later. After all, this is a red-eye flight, and I'm saying that because on my domestic flight on JAL on their Boeing 737, the seats did not have any neck support at all. And now it's time for us to check the seat pockets in front of me. So we have an earphone, which I'm going to be using a little bit later. And there is a safety card in here. And of course, the Japan Airlines in-flight and duty-free magazine. Now, always make sure to read the in-flight safety card because this can just be useful information just in case of an emergency. Now, the features on the Japan Airlines in-flight and duty-free magazine had the same features that I briefly showed on my vlog when I flew on a domestic flight also on Japan Airlines from Takamatsu to Haneda. So if you're interested to see that vlog or what's inside the magazines, I'm going to put a link down on the description box that you can go and check it out. Now, the other thing inside the seat pocket is actually this card showing how to connect and access the in-flight Wi-Fi. You can pause this video to see the rates if you want to use this service when you're flying on Japan Airlines. Do take note, there is no in-flight Wi-Fi available when flying on a polar route, so plan your internet use wisely. And can you see the leg space on this aircraft? This has got to be one of the most comfortable seats I have ever ridden on a Boeing 787. Now, there's a coat hook on the seat in front of me, and there are 2 netted compartments here which you can use to store whatever. The USB charging port is found below the TV screen, which I actually prefer. I think it's safer to have it there than under the seat in front of me. My folding tray table actually feels quite secure, and it can actually be slightly extended, so there's no problems with this. Now, the other things here on my seat is actually a blanket to keep me warm and a pillow to rest my head on. Now, the only thing that my seat doesn't have is actually individual air vents, which I think might be a problem a little bit later on the flight. Now, I do have to say that this Boeing 787 from JAL is actually quite spacious and bright and airy, because the last time I flew flew on a 787. It was on Qatar Airways and I felt quite claustrophobic. As the passengers were settling in, the cabin crew started coming around, and I think they've been placing these stickers on the seats wherein people had special meals, and I have here the stickers for a low-calorie meal that I ordered. Not because I'm on the diet, but because I don't want to eat something so heavy at this time of the day. Pushback was at 1:52 in the morning. It was 3 minutes short of our actual departure time. After pushback, we stopped for a few minutes on the tarmac a few meters after our gate. In the few times I have flown on a Japanese airline in Japan, this is common practice, may it be with ANA or JAL. The aircraft is always in a full stop while the cabin crew performs safety demonstrations or while the safety video is playing. I guess the passengers are less distracted by the movement of the aircraft, giving the cabin crew their full attention. And I guess this is also one way of freeing up a gate so that an incoming aircraft can also use it. It's actually an efficient way to make good use of slots, especially in very busy airports. And soon enough, the aircraft was moving again and started making its way to our departure runway. And because this is the third time that I am only flying out of Haneda, I keep on forgetting on how long it actually takes to get to the top of our departure runway. And if I remember from previous flights, it takes around 10 minutes to get from the gate to the top of our departure runway. And soon enough, we are now turning into the runway and we are now about to lift off into the sky. To distract myself from the light turbulence, I played with the entertainment system. By the way, the plug for the flimsy earphones is located on the left armrest, and it actually took me a while to find it, and I actually helped a Japanese couple who were sitting across the aisle from me because they also had a hard time looking for it, but once I showed them where it is, they were actually able to enjoy their entertainment. The TV screen had good resolution given that this aircraft is around 8 years old. The interface was sensitive to touch and easy to navigate. There were a number of films to choose from. There was some music, there were some audiobooks in a mix of English and Japanese, and there were also some news segments from NHK which were all in Japanese, unfortunately. I actually ended up checking out the flight map to see our general route and the surrounding area. I wasn't sure if this aircraft was equipped with a tail camera. I searched for a while, but I couldn't actually find it. I ended up not watching anything because I was already groggy. I just really wanted to sleep at this point. Now, because I'm flying on a reward ticket from a partner airline, I wished I had more choices in terms of flight times because I couldn't enjoy the amenities that the aircraft has to offer because all I'm thinking about is wanting to sleep. And it's a very short flight. I could just really enjoy watching movies, but no, at this point, all I want to do is just sleep. I was just about to close my eyes and nod off when I suddenly heard the cabin crew walking around. And as I took a peek of what was happening, I actually saw that they started food service. The cabin crew first served passengers who pre-ordered special meals. I actually chose my low-calorie meal while tinkering with the JAL app a few days before my flight. So this is how my low-calorie meal tray looks like. Look at the attention to detail here. Look at the presentation. Everything is so well packed. It's so good. good. So I have a piece of bread here. I have some vinegared salad. I have some steamed veggies. I have a small seafood salad here, and most of all, some dessert. Now I'm loving what I see here, like, even down to my name, correct spelling. I love it. And I also love that they have their own, paper placemat here, which I so love. And of course, we have some metal cutlery, which is so amazing. So for my mains, I had some breaded chicken with tomato sauce on top of it, which was sitting on top of some steamed rice and steamed vegetables. Now, it was actually quite good. I love the flavors. It was so tasty, but unfortunately, I was just not that hungry, mainly because I might have still been full from dinner. And of course, it's a little bit after 2 a.m., so I'm really not in the mood to eat. But I do have to say, I love this gelatinous dessert here. It was actually quite refreshing. And now it's bathroom check time. There are 4 lavatories that serves economy class, and they are all located between both economy cabins just right after the wing. And I am on the lavatory located on the left-hand side of the aircraft. And I do have to say that using the lavatory on any Japanese airline is actually a pleasurable experience because it's always clean, it's bright, and it's always airy. And having these mirrors inside served its purpose of actually making the space look wider. And of course, because the Boeing 787 is a bigger aircraft, we have so much space inside this lavatory. We have a changing table just in case if you need to change diapers for your kids. We even have a stool here, which is perfect just in case if you need to fix your shoe or you have to put your bag on if you want to change clothes. And of course, we have some hand sanitizer, we have an air freshener, we even have paper cups just in case you need to gargle some water, and of course, some hand soap. So it's a very well thought of, amenity inside a lavatory. And this goes the same for my domestic flight that I took with Japan Airlines a few days ago. And the best thing about this bathroom, by the way, is that it has an electronic bidet. Isn't that so amazing? I love it. And of course, we have this, very nice magnifying mirror here just in case if you need to touch up your eye makeup look. Now, by the way, you guys, the regular meal on this flight came with some Haagen-Dazs ice cream. When I saw my seatmate enjoying her cup, I asked one of the cabin crew if they would be kind enough to give me one just in case there were some extra left. And as if on cue, just as I sat on my seat, one of the lovely ladies came over and handed me my very own cup of vanilla ice cream. And this is such a nice touch, it just adds a certain pleasure when you're flying with Japan Airlines. And even if it's an ungodly hour, I still down this ice cream. I had unknowingly fallen asleep and I woke up to the sound of the cabin crew telling us that we are about to start our initial descent and we should prepare for a landing. The flight in general was great, except that at this point it became a little bit warm inside the aircraft. And this was also the case when I flew domestically with JAL a few days ago, wherein when we are about to descend, I can feel the cabin warm up. So I'm sensing a pattern here. Maybe it's JAL's way of waking up a passenger and making sure that they're alert. But then again, that's just a hunch. So let me know down in the comments if I'm right or wrong, okay? Now, just as we are about to turn, let me tell you guys how I purchased this one-way ticket. Now, this ticket is actually a rewards ticket, and I used my air miles on Qatar Airways and redeemed it with their partner airline, which is JAL. I had to spend 11,000 avios for this flight, plus I had to pay around 13,750 yen for taxes, so which is still not bad because after all, this was an unplanned trip. I wish though that there was an easier way of booking rewards tickets with partner airlines on Qatar Airways. I got a little nervous when I had to request for this service because I don't know if I will be approved or not. For comparison, on Emirates Airlines, it was quite straightforward. You see all the details and costs on their website real time, which was not the case with Qatar Airways, but I guess to each his own. And the reason why I'm saying this is because my domestic flight on JAL a few days ago was also a rewards ticket that I got from Emirates. And at this point, we're about to land, so let's enjoy the lights over Metro Manila. now landed in Manila a good solid 26 minutes before the estimated time of arrival, which is actually great. Now, kudos to the cabin crew who worked so hard to ensure that we had a safe and relaxed flight. They were very warm and welcoming. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Truthfully, flying on a Boeing 787 is not a favorite of mine, but flying on a JAL-operated Boeing 787 is an exception. I do hope, though, that in the future there will be more JAL flights that will connect Manila and Japan, maybe a direct flight from Manila to Osaka and vice versa, because I think this will be very beneficial to those of us who have business in the western portion of Japan. And just like that, I have deplaned and I have arrived at Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1. It is now around 5:30 in the morning, and I'm a little bit groggy from the lack of sleep, but it was still a very pleasurable experience. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you guys go now. I hope that you enjoyed flying with me. So if you have any more questions about my experience flying internationally with Japan Airlines for the first time, please let me know down in the comments box and let's have a conversation about it. All right. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for flying with me, and I hope that you're having a good day wherever you are. Bye.